What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Hey, everybody, this is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton, and let's get started. We're talking today about no sick days. Now, what I want to do is take you on a little bit of a journey, and that is think of what is out there as the American dream. And from my understanding, that formula consists of getting good grades in high school, going on to college, getting a college degree, looking for a job, buying a home, work 40 years, retire. That's the typical American dream. Now, some of you people in the comments may, well, it's this or that, but that's the prevailing idea. We hear it just pumped over the media airways almost every day. All right, but the part I want to focus on is the part where you have your degree and now you're looking for a job. You find an employer you like, they like you. You start negotiating with the terms of, your employment. Salary, hourly wage, vacation time, bonuses, flex schedule, all those different things. But one of the things at the very end that we tend not to mention in our negotiating is sick days. Now, my daughter the other day did not want to go to school. So what do? We call the school. She's not going to show up today. Don't even ask why or anything, nothing. Now, when you get your corporate job, you have vacation days, you also have sick days. If you do not want to show up to work, they have some systems where you call, where you email, you do something to let them know, hey, I'm not feeling my best, I'm not coming in. And because you have this contract with this company, you have sick days that are granted to you. Okay? Nobody questions those. You can call off. Now think about this. When I was playing professional sports, there were no sick days for athletes. See, people don't think about that. If you're an athlete, first and foremost, the fans who are paying those tickets want to see you there every time that they show up to the field. They don't want to see somebody sitting in for you. If you're the star quarterback, the team needs you, but the fans want to see you play. They don't want to see some understudy, some backup. They don't want to see that. And so when I was an athlete, one of the things that they did was, I remember this plain as day, is that when you did not feel well, you could not sit at home, or if you're on the road, you could not sit at the hotel and just mail it in and say, hey, I don't feel my best, I'm not showing up. You have to come to the stadium. They will give you a full physical, because most people don't realize on how much the team needs you there for even at your lesser capacity. For instance, I was a professional pitcher, but I was also a good hitter and I was also a good base runner. So my presence was really needed, because on the days that I didn't pitch, they might use me as a pinch hitter. They might use me as a pinch runner. So even if I wasn't at my best, I still could contribute to the team in that regard. Now just compare that to the corporate. When you don't feel your best, you just don't show up. And even though your company is not working at maximum capacity, you just, I need a day off. My head's not right or whatever. And I get that. But athletes, entrepreneurs, and parents are not able to do that, specifically athletes. All right. Now, I want to share this story with you where it talks about the no days off and how to be productive when you're not feeling at your best. When I was 19 years old, I was playing in Class A, Quad City, Iowa, and my pitching coach was Big Jim Wright. Well, the first start I had of the season, I was out there, I felt unhittable, and my stuff was unhittable. I had a great start. I won the game. My next start, I felt pretty average. And I struggled throughout the game. I walked some hitters, and I'm not sure if I got the loss or I didn't get a decision, but I didn't pitch very well. So the next day when I was meeting with my pitching coach, Big Jim Wright, Jim said, Lefty, or Hammer, or whatever they called me, he said, hey, come over, let's talk a little bit. And he said, how'd you feel last night? I said, I didn't feel all that good. And he said, yeah, I could tell. I could see your body language, just things weren't going right, and so you struggled. And I said, yeah, I didn't feel my best. And he said, but the first start, the game before, man, you were on fire. I said, yeah, I felt great. He said, Lefty, let me share something with you. He said, you have the ability to pitch at the major league level right now. You have the major league stuff, the ability. He said, but this is what's going to happen. Over the course of a major league season is 162 games. He said, how many of those games are you going to be the starting pitcher in? And so when you do the math, 162 games comes down to 32 starts. So I said 32 starts. He said, okay. He said, but let's break that into 4 sections. 8, 8, 8, 8. I said, okay, there it is. It's 8, 4 sections. He said, this is what I want you to remember from now on the rest of this season. And I want you to remember this when you get up to the major leagues. He said, of those 32 starts, you're going to have 8 of those starts where you are going to feel unhittable. You're going to feel unhittable and your stuff is going to be unhittable. On those days, you should win at least 6 out of 8 of those starts. Now, the other 2 that you may, 1 or 2 that you may not win is because you may be bumping heads with somebody else that has great stuff, feels good, has unhittable stuff. But for the most part, you should win 6 out of 8 of those. He said another 8 of those starts scattered out throughout the season, you're going to feel good. And of those, you should win at least 5 or 6 of those starts. Then you're going to have 8 starts where you're going to feel average like you did the other day. And you should probably win at least 3 or 4, maybe closer to 4 of those. You want to keep your teams in the game, but you're not at your best, but you want to be able to give your team a chance of winning. And then there's going to be 8 starts where you feel absolutely horrible. You don't have good stuff. You don't feel good physically. But in those games, you need to battle your butt off to keep the teams in the game. And you're going to probably win maybe 2, maybe 3 of those games. Now, when you add that up together, that's going to come out to about maybe 16, 17 wins for a season. And I looked at him and I was like, and it didn't quite even register because when you're young, you really rely on what you feel like and going into the games. But now looking back on that lesson, that is a metaphor for athletes, for entrepreneurs, for parents, for anybody in life, that you are not always going to feel your best. But when you feel your best, you should dominate. And then for grades lower than that, when you feel good, you should still dominate. When you feel average, you want to still get something out of it. Keep your team in the game. Keep your family in the game. Keep your business in the game. And when you don't feel your best, when you feel just absolutely just almost worthless, you still got to extract something out of it. You still got to hang in there. And this is exactly what athletes do. This is what parents do. And this is what entrepreneurs do. There are no days off, no sick days. And so that was one of the greatest lessons that I got. And I wanted to share that with you because once I began applying that, especially now as an adult, and I share this with my kids, once I began to apply this philosophy, I started planning my greatness. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I'll say this again. Plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see y'all next time.